India 360 feet deep secret, even America trembled, ladies and gentlemen. There comes a time when the world looks at you and doubts your strength. They whisper behind closed doors, they speculate in their headlines, and they calculate your limits as if they own your destiny. But there's something they never see, what's buried deep, what's forged beneath the surface. India carries that. 360 feet deep there lies a secret, not just in the ground, but in the spirit of a nation so powerful that even the greatest powers trembled. This is not about soil, it's about soul. It's about the kind of resilience that doesn't just happen. It's earned through centuries of trial, sacrifice, and a fire that refuses to die. You see, strength is not what you show when the lights are bright. Strength is what you become when no one is watching, when the pressure is so heavy it should break you, but instead it forges you. America trembled not because of what was found, but because of what it meant. It meant a nation had the courage to go deeper than anyone ever imagined, to dig, to uncover, to stand tall and say, "We are more than what you think we are." That's the mindset you need in life. Go deeper. Most people live at the surface. They fear the dark, they fear the unknown, they fear the depth. But the real treasures, the real power, the real transformation, it's always buried deep. You think success will come knocking on the surface. No, it's buried 360 feet deep. It's hidden under failure, under rejection, under sleepless nights, under doubt. And if you want to be the kind of person who makes the world tremble, you better be ready to go down there and pull it out. The world respects strength. It doesn't respect excuses. It doesn't care how tired you are, how unfair life has been, or how many people told you you can't. What it respects is results. Unshakable, undeniable, unforgettable results. That's what India showed. That's what made the world pause. So the question is, how deep are you willing to go for your dream? How much pain are you willing to endure for your vision? Are you ready to dig through 360 feet of dirt, doubt, and defeat to reach the treasure of greatness? Because when you do, you don't just win. You redefine the game. And when the game is redefined, everyone takes notice, even the giants. Depth creates power. Power isn't built on the surface. It's built in the depths where few dare to go. The surface is crowded, it's full of comfort, seekers, excuse, makers, and the ones who wait for opportunities to come knocking. But down there, in the unseen layers of effort, that's where the real energy gathers. When you dig deep, you find the pressure that shapes diamonds. You find the resistance that builds real strength. People think they want success, but they rarely want to sweat for it. They want the prize, but not the process. The process is buried, hidden, silent. Depth demands discomfort. It demands patience. It demands nights where the world is asleep, and you're awake, pushing further than anyone thinks is reasonable. That's the depth I'm talking about, where your lungs burn, your hands shake, but your spirit refuses to retreat. The ones who build power in the depths don't broadcast their every move. They move in silence because they know the surface is just the stage, but the underground is the workshop. Every minute spent beneath the obvious is an investment the world will one day witness. Look at any structure that stood the test of time. Its foundation is never shallow. The deeper the foundation, the taller it stands. People may see the height, but the strength is in what's hidden. Your dreams are no different. Depth also teaches you discipline. It doesn't reward the impatient. It doesn't open its treasures to the timid. It challenges you with setbacks, tempts you to quit, mocks you with silence. But the ones who keep going are the ones who one day stand at the top with something unshakable. You can't fake depth. You can fake smiles, fake confidence, fake progress on the surface, but you cannot fake what's built when nobody is watching. It's a truth that exposes pretenders and crowns the committed. Depth also isolates you. It will make people misunderstand you, doubt you, even label you as obsessed. But obsession is the price of power, and power built in the dark is the only power that survives the storm. When you choose to go deep, You separate yourself from the average. You separate yourself from the easy path. You decide that your story will not be written by chance, but by choice. Layer after layer, inch after inch. People will always talk about the results. They'll rarely ask about the depth. But you will know. You will know the nights, the sacrifices, the scars that no one else saw. And that's what makes the victory taste real. Depth doesn't just create power, it creates identity. Because down there, stripped of applause and comfort, you find who you really are. And once you know that, nobody can take it from you. The deeper you go, the more leverage you have when the moment comes. When the lights finally turn on, your preparation turns the pressure into dominance. That's why depth is not just an option. It's the root of every breakthrough. You may not see the reward today. You may not even see it this year, but the depth never wastes its students. It will always return what you invested with interest. Sometimes tenfold, sometimes 1,000-fold. The world respects the surface because it's visible, but the world bows to the depth because it's unshakable. Silence builds legacy. Noise is overrated. The loudest voices often have the least to show. Legacy isn't built by shouting. It's built by doing again and again until the world can no longer ignore the echo. Silence is your ally. It's the empty gym, the early morning grind, the moments where no one is clapping, but you're still moving forward. That's where true greatness is stitched together, thread by thread. People fear silence because it makes them feel unseen. But that's exactly where legends rise. In the quiet, you're not distracted by applause or criticism. You're focused on the mission. Silence also protects you. It keeps your moves from being analyzed, your progress from being sabotaged, your intentions from being diluted. Too many share their plans with the world, and in doing so, they weaken them. Legacy is proof over time. It's not built overnight, and it's never built through noise alone. It's the accumulation of consistent action that one day explodes into undeniable impact. You don't have to convince people you're working. Let your results do the talking. Let your consistency become the announcement. By the time the world realizes what you've done, it's already too late for them to stop it. Silence is discipline. It forces you to rely on effort rather than applause. And when you rely on effort, you become unstoppable because your source of energy isn't external, it's internal. The great ones master silence because they know it multiplies their focus. While others waste energy explaining their dreams, they build them brick by brick. One day, that wall stands so tall it casts a shadow over everyone who doubted them. Legacy also thrives in patience. Silence and patience walk together. When you learn to wait, to build without constant validation, you build something that can't be shaken by a single storm. People will question you. They'll wonder why you're quiet. They'll try to drag you into their noise. Stay the course. Noise is temporary. Legacy is eternal. Every great empire began as an unnoticed blueprint. Every champion trained in silence before the roar of the crowd. That's the pattern of history. It rewards those who choose work over words. Silence doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing everything that matters when no one is clapping. It means planting seeds in seasons where nobody else believes they'll grow. And when it finally blooms, that's when the world trembles, not because they heard you coming, but because they never saw you rising. Pressure is feared by the weak, but embraced by the strong. It's the ultimate test of what you're made of. It doesn't lie, it doesn't flatter, it doesn't pretend, it reveals. Every moment you feel the weight of expectation, the weight of doubt, the weight of challenge pressing down on you, remember this. Pressure doesn't destroy diamonds, it creates them. The world runs from pressure. People choose comfort over challenge because pressure is uncomfortable. It forces you to face your limits, to strip away your excuses, to confront your own potential. But if you're willing to stay under it, pressure becomes your forge. It shapes you, molds you, strengthens the parts of you that no easy path ever could. It turns hesitation into hunger. When you stand in pressure long enough, you stop asking, "Why me?" and start asking, "What is this making me?" That's the shift. That's where growth happens. Pressure teaches you patience. It doesn't reward immediate reactions. It rewards endurance. The longer you stay, the more it works on you. It also teaches you clarity. Under pressure, distractions disappear. What matters becomes painfully obvious. Your priorities sharpen. Your vision clears. Pressure also exposes pretenders, those who talk big but crumble when the moment comes. They never stayed in the forge long enough. They wanted the crown without carrying the weight. The ones who embrace pressure learn how to convert it into momentum. They stop running from it and start using it. Pressure isn't there to stop you. It's there to shape you into someone unstoppable. When the world watches you under pressure, they're not just watching to see if you win. They're watching to see if you'll break. And when you don't, that's when fear changes sides. Pressure also reminds you of your purpose. When the weight feels unbearable, it's usually because the prize is that significant. Nobody pressures mediocrity. Pressure is reserved for potential. Every champion has scars from pressure, but those scars are proof they survived the forge. And what came out was harder, sharper, and more resilient than before. You don't run from the forge if you want to lead, you run into it, because on the other side of pressure is not pain, it's power. Greatness lives underground. Greatness has never lived on the surface. The surface is for show. It's for the highlight reels, the applause, the handshakes. But greatness, it's hidden. It's buried. It lives in places most people will never see because they never have the courage to go there. The underground is where you're tested. It's dark, it's lonely, it's uncomfortable, and that's why most people quit before they even start. They want the glory without the grind, but the truth is, the grind is the glory. When you go underground, you cut out the noise. There's no audience, no compliments, no distractions. It's just you and your work. That's where the gap between the good and the great is created, when nobody's watching. The underground is brutal because it demands everything from you. It doesn't care about your excuses, your feelings, or your comfort. It only respects consistency, effort, and resilience. That's the language greatness understands. You can't buy your way underground. You can't fake your way underground. The only way down is through pain, repetition, and sacrifice. And every level you go deeper, the fewer people you see, because the weak drop out at the first sign of discomfort. Greatness is allergic to shortcuts. It doesn't exist in quick hacks or easy wins. It's built in those hours that feel invisible, hours that no one will clap for. Hours that stack up until suddenly the world calls you an overnight success. The underground also demands patience. You might work for years before anyone even notices, but when they finally do, they can't deny it. They can't deny the depth of what you've built because it didn't just happen. It was forged in silence. When you choose to go underground, you're choosing separation. You're choosing to distance yourself from the ordinary, from the predictable, from the safe. And that's scary for most people because it means giving up approval for progress. But progress is worth it. Every brick you lay underground becomes a foundation for something massive above ground. And when that structure rises, it's unshakable because it's rooted deep where no storm can touch it. People talk about overnight success stories, but those stories are lies. What they call overnight is actually years spent in the dark, doing what no one wanted to do, going where no one dared to go. Greatness doesn't need attention to grow. It doesn't need validation to exist. It needs work. It needs discipline. It needs the willingness to go places that make others uncomfortable. The underground is where champions bleed. It's where they sweat. It's where they fight battles no one ever sees. And when the lights finally hit them, they're unstoppable because they've been through wars in the shadows. If you want greatness, stop looking on the surface. Stop waiting for easy paths, go underground, dig, sweat, bleed, build something so strong that when it finally rises, the world has no choice but to look up in awe. Shock the world if you want to make noise, make it so loud the world can't ignore it. Don't talk about what you're going to do. Do it so big, so undeniable, that even the people who doubted you have to stand there in silence. Shock is not created by average moves. Shock is created by risk, by courage, by doing what the world said was impossible. You can't shock anyone by being predictable. You shock them by being relentless. When you wake up every day with a fire that doesn't quit, the world feels it, even if they don't see it right away. And then, one day, the results hit like an earthquake. That's the moment of shock. People love to underestimate you. They love to put you in a box, label you, define you. Use that. Let it fuel you. Every doubt is an opportunity to surprise them, to flip the script, to write a story they never saw coming. The best shock is silent at first. It's the work you do in the dark, the sacrifices you make that no one knows about, and then, boom, it explodes in the light, and they're left asking, how did that happen? Shock the world with consistency. Not one big move, but 1,000 small, disciplined decisions stacked on top of each other until they form something unbreakable. That's the shockwave no one can stop. If you want to shock the world, you have to live like the world doesn't exist while you're building. Ignore the noise, ignore the opinions, they don't matter. What matters is the work. The world doesn't reward words, it rewards wins. So when you think about shocking the world, don't think about proving them wrong. Think about proving yourself right. That's the real victory. Shock requires sacrifice. It means turning down easy pleasures for long-term glory. It means working when others sleep. It means going so far beyond the norm that normal starts to look like failure to you. Shock the world by outlasting them. Most people quit when it gets hard. If you refuse to quit, you become a force they can't explain. That's what scares them the most. Someone who won't stop. You don't shock the world by blending in. You shock it by standing out, by doing what others won't, by refusing to compromise on your vision, no matter how lonely it gets. Shock isn't just about winning. It's about dominating. It's about leaving no doubt. It's about creating results so big that even your enemies have to respect them. And when you finally shock the world, remember this. It wasn't the world you needed to convince. It was yourself. The shock was always inside you, waiting to be unleashed. The unknown is your arena. Most people fear the unknown because it's dark, uncertain, uncomfortable. But if you want greatness, that's where you need to live. The unknown is where champions are born because the known is crowded, predictable, safe. The unknown forces you to adapt. It strips away comfort and pushes you into situations that test everything you are. And that's the point. Growth only happens in discomfort. If you're waiting for a clear path, you'll be waiting forever. The unknown doesn't give directions, it gives challenges. And every challenge you conquer becomes a weapon for the next battle. The unknown separates pretenders from contenders. Pretenders stay where it's safe. Contenders step into the dark with confidence because they trust their preparation, their mindset, their will. When you live in the unknown, fear becomes your training partner. It doesn't go away, but you learn to work with it, to turn it into fuel instead of a cage. The unknown also kills arrogance. It reminds you that nothing is guaranteed, that every victory must be earned again and again. That's why it keeps you sharp. If you want to dominate the unknown, you have to move before you're ready. Stop waiting for perfect timing. It doesn't exist. Jump. Build wings on the way down. The unknown rewards courage. Not perfection, not certainty. Courage. The courage to move forward when logic says stop. The courage to believe when everything screams doubt. Every breakthrough you've ever heard about started in the unknown. Every game changer, every record breaker, every world shaker. They all walked into the unknown before anyone else believed. The unknown is your advantage because most people will never enter it. They'll talk about it, they'll dream about it, but they'll never step into it. That's where you win. Don't fear the unknown. Hunt it. Seek it out. Live in it. Because when you do, you're no longer playing the same game as everyone else. You're writing a game they can't even imagine. And when the unknown becomes your arena, you stop being a player. You become the rule, Maker, courage digs deeper. Courage isn't loud. It's not flashy. It's not a big speech. Courage is quiet. It's the decision to keep digging when everything in you says stop. Courage is what gets you past the surface. It's easy to start. Everyone starts. The real test begins when you hit the resistance, the rock, the layer that feels impossible to break through. Most people turn back. They tell themselves it's not worth it. They settle for what's easy because digging deeper demands everything. Your time, your energy, your pride. Courage says, I'm going one more inch, one more swing, one more day, even when it feels like progress is invisible. That's the difference. Courage keeps moving in the dark. Courage doesn't eliminate fear. It walks with it. It feels the fear, hears the doubt, and keeps going anyway. That's why courage is rare, because most people want guarantees before they act. When you dig deeper, you find out who you really are. The surface hides the truth, the depth reveals it, and sometimes that truth shocks you, because you're stronger than you thought. Courage also inspires, not through words, but through example. When people see you go deeper than anyone else, they start questioning their own limits. Every big breakthrough you admire was built on courage. Someone refused to stop. Someone refused to listen to doubt. Someone kept digging while others walked away. Courage is expensive. It costs comfort. It costs relationships. It costs your old life. But what you get in return is worth more than all of it, because you become unbreakable. Courage digs when the shovel feels heavy, when the hands are blistered, when the sweat blinds you, and then, one day, you hit something no one believed was there. That's when everything changes, not because the treasure appeared, but because you refuse to quit digging. That's the real victory. Legacy makes the earth shake. Legacy isn't what you leave behind. It's what you build now. It's the choices you make when nobody's watching, the sacrifices you make that nobody understands. Legacy is bigger than goals. Goals end when you hit them. Legacy continues long after you're gone, and the only way to build it is through relentless action. If you want to make the earth shake, you can't live like everyone else. You can't think like everyone else. You can't settle like everyone else. You have to go so far beyond normal that normal feels like failure. Legacy isn't built on talk. It's built on proof. Proof that you showed up when it was hard. Proof that you kept going when the odds were stacked. Proof that you were willing to bleed for something bigger than yourself. People will forget what you said. They'll forget what you posted. But they'll never forget what you built. That's why legacy matters, because it speaks when you're not in the room. Legacy also demands vision. You have to see beyond today, beyond this week, beyond this year. You have to see decades ahead and act like it starts now, because it does. The earth shakes when someone refuses to live small, when someone says, I'm not here to fit in, I'm here to take over. That's the mindset of legacy. Every great empire, every name etched in history, came from someone who wasn't afraid to be misunderstood, to be hated, to be doubted. That's the price of legacy. If you want to make the earth shake, stop chasing applause and start chasing impact. Applause fades, impact echoes forever. Legacy doesn't happen by accident. It's intentional. It's deliberate. It's a series of bold moves that stack on top of each other until the ground beneath you can't hold it anymore. It has to shake. When the earth shakes, everyone notices. They feel the vibration of something massive, something unstoppable. And they realize they just witnessed history. You've just walked through the very layers that most people will never see. You've seen what it takes to go 360 feet deep. Not in the ground, but in the grind, in the courage, in the heart that refuses to quit. This is not just a story about a secret buried in India. This is a blueprint for anyone who wants to rise when the world expects them to fall. The surface will always tempt you. It's bright. It's noisy. It promises quick rewards and easy applause. But nothing that shakes nations is ever built there. Real power, world. Shaking power is always born below. It's born in silence. It's born in the forge of pressure. It's born in the dark, where only the obsessed stay. India's secret wasn't just what was found, it was the message it sent. We are not afraid to go deeper than anyone thought possible. That's what made America tremble. Not the depth of the soil, the depth of the spirit. And that's your call now, to go deeper than your fear, to stay longer than your doubt, to stand when the world shakes and become the reason it shakes again. When your story is told, let it not be said that you lived on the surface. Let it be said that you dug, that you endured, that you built something so strong it could not be moved. Because the world does not remember the ones who stayed safe. It remembers the ones who dared to go 360 feet deep.